Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 511th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I'm supposed to be the Clown Prince of podcasts. Apparently, I'm still another different person, but I'm the Clown Prince of podcasts. Trust now, and I'm joined by
Would you kindly, Kirklin Panther?
I thought you said wedgie.
Wedgies are coming. Send in the wedgiers. Just like two big dudes coming behind you guys for wedgies.
Fuck.
Wow, that was a really elaborate prank you would have pulled off there.
We're turning into a Howard Stern show or something.
Mm-hmm.
I am the king of the monsters, Taylor Field.
King of the Monsters. Yeah, we got exciting show, a show where we've kind of changed a little bit. Only the patrons and whatnot know what the original plans are. But you know, we just got some big news topics that's just, what is it? The news is too big to print or too fit to, what is the expression? You should know, Taylor. You do stuff
He's
with
a printing
news.
man.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this expression.
I guess I'm saying it wrong. It's like all the news fit to print. But we got a lot of news fit to talk about. So let's get right into it. Taylor Field, where can they find us before we get going?
Ladies and gentlemen, you could find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter, and GeekVerse is our Facebook.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, head down to the links below, and you can find everything there, our audio feeds, our video feeds, our podcast network, which is 6 days a week covering Marvel, Star Wars, comic books, animation, Rangers, just a plethora, like the amount of stuff that's going on over there. Go check that out. And then, yeah, our separate feeds, the Discord, which was popping off today with all this news. Head over to check out manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free worldwide shipping when you use our podcast code GVPOD. But I will tell you more about that in a little bit. And then most importantly, head over to Patreon, because Patreon, we got a lot of questions for today's cast and the one we're recording just after, which patrons will get early. You get our D23 predictions tonight if you are a patron. Well, really, it'll be probably tomorrow by the time I post it. But you can get them next 24 hours. Otherwise, you might have to wait. And also, ad-free, and you get other exclusives. There's exclusive casts being recorded next week. You got 2 Towers already up there. Return of the Kings will probably be early up there. Tons of things going on there. Some tiers have up to 3 exclusive episodes. You get to send in questions. You get to call in for After 9, all that good jazz. So, and as usual, the more you support us there, the more content we can create. Side quests, as told you, the retrospectives, extra newscasts. That's all because of each and every one of you. And we thank you for whether you're on Patreon or even if you're on the ad feed. We appreciate you. And a big shout out to our Patreon producers at the very top tier: Aaron Brain, April Darkner, Smalley Biggs, and Joshua. Right. And yeah, so let's get this going. So today, this is why we're doing a kind of we were doing a cast, but not really a cast. It was kind of pre-recording some stuff. But today, and it was really later in the day too. I think it was like around 3 to 4, somewhere in there. And this is why you kind of know it's probably official. So one person, I don't know who started it. It was and yes, on the game, we're going to bring up, I have that clip ready. We're going to be bringing up this clip of this guy talking about Justice League like years ago and stuff like that. So it's very interesting. But yeah, apparently Dan Lin is getting the tip. And why this seems like getting the tip, fuck. He's getting pointed to as the new head, the Feige, the Kathleen Kennedy, whatever you want to say. Obviously, there's been a big search going around, but because I think this is legitimately happening, one, all the people that are reporting this are all like the A, S tier scoopers. So that happened. But what happened was, I think it's Deadline. They have something called like The Dish, and it's like, I think they post like not smaller, but more like speculative pieces, but it's always backed by something they've heard. And it was like The Dish, and it was like, could Warner Brothers be looking at this person? And then every single fucking scooper like posted. So this was something that they all probably had ready to go, and they were just waiting for like, oh, I need probably like more sources, more this and that. But then once one person wins, okay, we got to get on this too. And that's a good thing about today. There's been all little bunch of nuggets from everybody and stuff like that. But I'm going to pull up, I was very bad, I was going to pull up Dan Lin's filmography here. So he is a producer, and yeah, he is tipped, fuck, I almost said that, tapped, that's what I was looking for, tapped, not tip. We don't want to give him the tip, we want to give him the tap.
Tip for tap.
Yeah, make sure you tap your tips, everybody, but not too much or you're having too much fun. But some of his biggest one, I'll go through them all eventually, but some of his biggest, original article was Borskit THR. Yeah, maybe that was what it was, that was The Dish. But some of his credits, he was like the mainline producer in the Lego franchise, so I feel like Taylor's happy about that. So he produced Lego Batman, he produced the 2 It movies, he produced Haunted Mansion, what's coming out for Disney in a little bit. He did produce Death Note for Netflix, which we're going to talk about. He is producing the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I think there was something else of note. But also what happened was in 2007, 2008, he was producing the George Miller Justice League Immortal. That's where Armie Hammer was Batman. That's where oh god, what's his name from the OC, who's now in Shazam? He's Adam Brody. He was Flash and stuff like that. So they had all these people cast. It ended up not happening, but you can look. Have you ever seen? I feel like I've told this, Kirkman. Have you ever seen either of you? Have you ever seen the Justice League Immortal set photo of what they looked like?
No.
Don't look at it. I'm going to bring it up. No.
Okay.
I'm going to bring it up. Because I want to see your reactions and everything like that, as well as Lilo and Stitch live action. So it seems like he's been working with a bunch of people. I thought there was another one going there. They're making a Pink Panther film. Okay, cool. The Pink Panther. Oh, that was the
Settlers
other
of Catan.
That was. Is he on that too? Is that what it is?
Yeah, producer.
Yeah. And then also these were the other two big ones for Taylor, the Sherlock Holmes movie. So I'm sure you are. I feel like this guy's just right out your fucking eye. But also Aladdin, which whatever you feel about that $1 billion movie worked out. So Taylor, as I said, what do you feel just on paper as this guy, his credits, everything like that? There's more. I guess I could say this now, where we had talked about this before, and the rumor is that, as before, let's say Kirklin and Taylor were running Warner Brothers, right? And they would have everything, Harry Potter,
Please
DC,
no.
everything like that. Oh, yeah.
I was on the other side of the spectrum.
I trust
like we're gonna do great, Taylor.
First day, John Cena's Bane, go. He's Peacemaker. No, we're rebooting, but we're bringing him back. But so let's say they're running Warner Brothers, right? And they would look after everything: Harry Potter, the Lego at the time, animation, DC, stuff like that. Now, what the proposed pitch is that this guy, Dan Lin, is going to be looking after the DC animation, TV, and movies, and it's going to be, like we've heard, its own studio. So instead of Taylor and Kirkland looking after DC, let's say, oh, I'm a part of DC, I'm a third thing. So I don't got to report to Taylor and Kirkland at all. It's going to be its own studio now, its own wing. So before, when you had one person looking after all this Warner Brothers stuff, now it could be they're looking at all the stuff except minus DC. Apparently, the only person he will report to is, oh no, he did Terminator Salvation. I didn't know that. I like Terminator Salvation.
I like
actually.
Salvation too. It was great.
I think there were some cool concepts in there. I don't think it's like amazing, but you know what? That's not a bad thing. And we'll talk about that. I have a point of like these bad movies. There's a few duds, but like maybe I'll say this before I throw it over one of these. Kirkland, you go ahead while I search something up here.
Is that the Jake Sully one? Salvation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Christian
like,
Bale, right?
It's so funny. I've like so like few vague memories of Terminator Salvation, or just Terminator in general. But for some reason, Terminator Salvation, I remember like that whole movie. I don't know what it is. Maybe I found it at a certain age. I just loved it, and I kept rewatching. I feel like it also like I just had like a phone app that went with it. So Terminator Salvation was
That's commitment.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, and I feel like it's coming off the hype of Dark Knight. You had Bale in there, and I feel like everyone was like, oh, I love Christian Bale. But that's my point before I throw it over to Taylor, before we break this down a little bit, because obviously there's going to be stinkers, right? I knew like Death Note for Kirkland, and that was going to come up and stuff like that. But here's the thing. You look at Feige before he became all the way to Iron Man. So look at his credits. So you have the original X-Men. That's great. You have Spider-Man. That's great. You have Daredevil. I like it, but that's fine. You have X2. That's great. You have Hulk and Punisher, which I don't think are the greatest. You got Spider-Man 2. Okay. Arguably really good. Not arguably. People say it's like still the GOAT superhero movie. I disagree. But still, then after that, you get Blade Trinity and Elektra and Man-Thing and Fantastic Four and X-Men Last Stand and Spider-Man 3 and Fantastic Rise of the Silver Surfer. Honestly, right before he did Iron Man, that was like in the back end of his like doing like the ones that didn't work and stuff like that. So I know that's something that they're gonna just dig through his filmography and find anything like, look, he did this thing. You can't trust him at all. But like Feige had some stinkers too before he started doing the MCU. And chat, I see it popping off. I'll try and get to you as we go along. People, you can always send a super chat to bump it up the top, because sometimes the chats go way far. But I'll start with you as far as there's more to this. I'm gonna bring up that clip of the guy talking and stuff like that, because he has obviously worked with DC. It's been put out there that he is a DC fan. How are you feeling about this candidate if the ink dries?
I hope the ink dries, because I mean, he's got, just looking at some of his other movies here. I'm
like
very,
everything
very
but
happy.
Transformers. For
What are
Taylor.
you gonna
He's
shout
like in
out?
on
Yeah.
it.
I was probably gonna reiterate a few that you already mentioned, but I mean, we got
I
It
thought
in there too.
I thought you were gonna. I said it. I thought you were gonna bring up something like we would be like, oh, that's awful, but you would be like, that's fantastic. Like, look at this.
I tried watching like Gangster Squad. I never really got into that one.
Not the greatest.
The Lego Ninjago movie is definitely the weakest of the Lego movies, but still, I mean, to have like initial one and like Lego Batman under your belt. Yeah, like Lego Batman's fantastic. So I'm not worried at all. I think this is a great decision. I hope that it comes to light and is cemented, because clearly the guy's got talent. I mean, fuck, he's a talent scout right there.
That's what they said. Clearly, he got down and stuff like that. But Kirk, what do you feel on this on the surface? Because obviously they need somebody. They're looking for somebody. We don't know much more details, but like obviously his plans stuff. Because I imagine that would all come like again. These are all. What I think this is that we're close to the final negotiations of the contract, and that's why this stuff's coming out. But I would assume that this is probably going to be the guy unless something falls through. But how do you feel about this person kind of maybe being the shepherd of the new DC universe? And that's not saying it's being rebooted, just like the films that will come after 2023.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to see the projects that come out of like his reign. I know there'll be some time until he's like actually like putting stuff out.
At least 2 years.
At least 2 years, yeah. But like still, like I think it's I have an optimistic lens on this news. I didn't really know his name, but I definitely know the projects that he's done, and like I didn't dissect each and every one of them, but for the most part, they look like relatively successful projects, and even just stuff that's coming out the pipeline. Like these are some projects that I'm actually really looking forward to. Specifically,
Inspector Gadget 2026. Holy fuck!
Oh,
he's got Feige plans, and it's tying into all these other projects he's doing.
Yeah, except they're like weirdly family movies. Lilo Stitch, Haunted Mansion. He's like, he's gonna sign a deal with Disney. Like, I'm gonna do the cinematic DC or the Disney universe. Like, no. Wouldn't that be it? It's actually he is doing the DC universe, but all the Scoobers got it mixed up. It's like, no, he's doing like a Disney cinematic universe. Like, I can't wait to cross over the princesses. It's gonna be huge.
Hey, I'm in. I'll be there day one, Dan Lin. But no,
the fact they still haven't done anything with Wreck-It Ralph 2 with all the princesses. Why haven't they done that movie?
I know
it's money.
Even like shorts,
money.
even like those shorts that they've done for like Baymax or Groot now. That's easy right there.
Maybe he pitched that. They said no. He said, "Oh, I'm going to DC.
I'm going to DC. Fuck you guys. You don't know how to run things." But no, like I think it's also like. Yeah, he's been a part of a lot of big projects, but it's not like a particular name. I'll choose my words wisely here. It's not like a name that has like a very specific style of like doing things. And I feel like if you brought someone in to like do that Kevin Feige type role, and he has like a very, I don't know, like it's my way. You either like it or you don't. Like I don't think that would have been the best route, because if Project One isn't good out the hop, you definitely are worried going forward. But no, like he's clearly been like producer on a lot of films and an executive in that sense. So I definitely think that he has the resume, I think, to fill that role, and hopefully it all goes well, because we're gonna be watching these projects. Why would I hope for something not to go well if I'm gonna be watching it? So I hope it I hope it's some sweet stuff, and who knows, maybe down the line we'll be like, wow, Kevin Feige, Dan Lin, like those are.
I thought you were saying like he was under Dan Lin. Like Kim Feige, now we got fucking Dan Lin.
Anything's possible, yeah.
You never know. Let's see how Secret Wars goes,
Get like 30 projects down the line, we'll see where Dan Lin is.
Yeah.
So just the way we've kind of been talking about this, it's like, once he gets into that position, that rank, and then it'll be like 2 years before he gets this like project, and we'll see how that goes. But in reality, I mean, he's already passed his interview process. When you look at his itinerary of or past projects, and they're all like so many Warner Brother IPs, right? So I feel like, okay, we already know, like 2 years aside, like he's already doing their job or doing the job for them, right? Just it would be more DC centric, I guess.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to bring up, because Clay, you said that he'd have to, those upcoming projects need to fall through or be pitched to someone else in order for him to take the job. Not necessarily, because remember when Warner Brothers signed JJ to that great $500 million deal that he did nothing for, he was still directing Star Wars at the time, and he was producing Star Trek, and he still is. So I think if there's still certain things that he may have obligations that he has to finish, and they might be like, hey, go do that. I would expect with Zaslav, the way he operates, that they're not going to let him have the JJ thing, where JJ's like, yeah, I just got to finish a few things, and 4 years later, they're like, hey, you finished those things?
I want to sign JJ's contract. It's like all that money, and you don't have to do fucking shit all, apparently.
Oh, look at that. Dan Lin oversaw the hit James Gunn Warner Brothers Scooby-Doo 2 Monster Unleashed. Absolutely.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, it said that departed. It said he wasn't credited, but still, like what it shows is he's been around. Taylor, I'm surprised I didn't catch this one. He was the EP on Godzilla vs. Kong as well.
The executive producer goes over vs. Kong. Yeah, I did not realize that.
So like I feel like he's made like this is like a Taylor pick and everything like that. But I feel, for me personally, I had said this because I had been on the vodka stream. Somehow like I ended up being on there 3 weeks in a row. It just happened. Like we always on with you, and I jumped on, and we fell asleep. But that was like a rotating thing, because every week there was like a rumor about Zaslav, this and that. And I just, because everyone, and Dave always brought up a good point, that people would throw out the worst suggestions of like, oh, it's gonna be Zack Snyder or his wife or Jim Lee, like all these people that are not gonna take these on. Even Zack Snyder Snyder, if he wanted to come back to DC, he wouldn't be taking on like a full universe. He's a director. He wants to make movies. You need a producer. And I always agreed that I thought it was going to be someone you didn't hear of. And my pitch was, now he's 49. That's still like not old, but I just always thought it was going to be someone young and plucky. And I still throw him there because I feel like most of the producers people are throwing out were still like 60 and above. Like even Alan Horn, who came back, he's like in his almost 80s, right, and stuff like that. So this is a guy who has had like a lot of good hits, and everyone says this, they're like, well, hopefully he can be more like Feige, because people are like, well, on his resume he looks more like a Kathleen Kennedy than a Feige, which sure could be true, but what you just want is you want someone with some hits. And the thing is, he has hits, he has good quality films, and he has like a seasoned record of stuff. Like he's been in the business, like I said, what was it, 2004 and stuff. Even like The Departed, it says development executive. Not exactly sure what he would have done on there, but the point is that it's the same thing like Feige. Even before he produced movies, he worked under Richard Donner, who directed the first Superman, and he like cut his teeth like just learning the industry. So like this guy having these amount of years, you're never. So Feige was 35 when he started doing the MCU. Man, that's Dan Lin looks great, because Dan Lin does not look like 49 in my opinion. These pictures I've seen of him,
phenomenal. Yeah.
so that's a good sign for us. But the thing is, it's just like you can never get that exact person who came up through Dahmer and like Donner, not Dahmer. Dude, that'd be a whole different what if scenario. And like look at the thing Feige did have, where okay, Feige of course. Comic book fans are going to love that, right? Like he produced nothing but comic book films. Okay, that is great, but on this side too, that this guy's he's produced like a whole variety of things, right? So yeah, of course, and the one comic book film he did produce unfortunately didn't happen. That wasn't him. That was more of a Nolan / Warner Brothers decisions of, hey, we don't really want another Batman while we're doing the Dark Knight trilogy and stuff like that. So I look at this, it's like he's somebody that, yeah, we did not know who Dan Lin was yesterday, you know, but I always thought it's going to be something like that. And I know people go, that was the rumor why one of the reasons he got the job, because they did go to some people, so like some higher up people like Emma Thomas, and they said no. But it's just like people go, oh yeah, he just took it because no one wanted it. At the end of the day, it's like, I know there's some producers obviously that said no, but if you are a person that you're Dan Lin, that you are successful, but you're not like a name, you're not like a mega producer, why not at least take the shot? Because either the scenario is you succeed and you become a Feige and you get to write your own checks and you have all this power, or you fail and at least you tried and you're probably gonna get a fat check while failing as well. Like all these people that they laid off at Warner Brothers, they still get like a big check on their way out the door, because like that just happens. Like we got checks for fucking being at Target, you know, and imagine what they're getting for like, hey, you're supposed to be here for 3 years, but we have to move over and stuff like that, right? So I guess I'm just really happy. The things that make me the most happy is one, that interview I'll bring up, but is the fact that he was working on Justice League, but Lego Batman. I absolutely love Lego Batman. Like that was such like a perfect, I think I gave that a 10 when we reviewed it. It's such like a perfect for what it was type of movie, and I love it. And honestly, that still comes down to directors and writers and stars. I'm not saying, oh, he single-handedly made it the big friend. No, it's not that. But, and even then, like, look, the guy that directed it is the guy that's currently directing The Flash and stuff like that. So he already has like previous relationships with some of these talents that are attached to Warner Brothers. And I'm not going to go as far as, oh man, that means Andy Muschietti's probably going to direct Justice League. I don't know about that, but like I can see like that's a gateway, right? If like you've worked with them before and everything. So
yeah, it's the type of person that, like, with the track record, I've seen his projects. I definitely would have recognized the name if you're just like, hey, oh, have you heard Dan Lin? It's like, no, I don't. Hopefully this new position changes that, and he is a very well I mean, he's already well respected and everything, but just like the average people, I feel like when they hear something like Feige, they'll be like, oh yeah, it's the guy like running the Marvel show, whereas hopefully Dan Lin will have that. But like when we list off all these different reasons on why it would make sense, it's just, yeah, okay, this is totally the type of individual I would have I would have believed got this role, and rightfully so. I mean, he's been in the game for a long time, and he's made some pretty stellar stuff, so.
Yeah, and like we always say, we didn't know who Feige was for a while, you know, until we really started doing that. I imagine myself, because I'm into this stuff, I would have picked up on it eventually, but still, like, until we started doing this podcast, that's once we really start talking about, like, who's the guy doing this, and that's the other thing that they do need, is they need some guy to get up there at Comic-Con, fandom, whatever, and be the face of it all. Like we've talked about. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, what's Dan Lin's thing? Like, Feige's got the hats. Is he just, like, wearing, like, fanny packs or something? Belts?
Like, he has
like, huge belt
belts,
buckle?
Yeah. And then when crowds yell, like, if there's, like, a heckler, he just takes it off and, like, fucking like, strikes him in the face.
It's like a 50, like, grand, like, belt buckle. Just diamond studded, too. Like,
whatever
so over the top. Like a rapper or something. Yeah.
It's like, look what I spend my paycheck on. It's like, I thought you were producing the movies, man, and stuff like that.
Suck my dick. I run Warner Brothers.
Fuck Snyder. And then He's just going off and everything like that. Oh man, yeah, Clay's right. The Hot Topic belt buckles. I had a Joker one that was a Killing Joke one, so it was black, and then when you flipped, it was a Killing Joke comic, and like the belt buckle was like really annoying, but also, man, they were cheap because they would always pinch me, like always pinch me. Like, oh fuck, that sucks.
Was it because you're pre-manscaping? Is that why?
No, it's just my cock's that big.
No,
Super Bad Mike, he's working with Disney. He's working with Disney, so maybe he has some of their MCU secrets he can bring into Warner Brothers. I don't think so, but I think you're more making a joke. But
I like that idea.
He's a mole and stuff like that. His variety films, Clay says, means we can get a variety of genres in DC like we wanted. Yeah, I hope that is. I wonder if or when Feige will produce a movie, like a comic movie, I'm saying, attached to his name with a big draw for a movie, kind of like now it's happening with produced by the Russo brothers. I don't know. There's a chance that may never happen because there's a chance that he just does Marvel and then he goes on to be a bigger executive that just looks after like a corporation overall, you know, like not like a Zaslav who's owner of Disney, but something like Alan Horn was, where it's like, hey, you're looking after the film division of Warner Bros. I could see it like Feige, you're looking now after the film division of Disney and stuff like that. So other than maybe Star Wars, which we'll see if that actually ever happens, I don't know if we'll ever see Feige produce anything else. Unless
he's not producing the Star Wars when he's directing it, isn't it? Isn't he?
No, he's producing.
Well,
he's never directed in his
I thought
life.
he was actually
guy.
directing the Star
boom
Wars
guy.
one. I legit thought he was directing the Star Wars movie because I thought he was getting his hands all over it.
No, he's just a producer.
I definitely thought it was the director too. I feel
really?
like
Okay.
I misremembered that. Yeah.
No, he's never directed. I think he said he never intends to direct either. It's just not in his wheelhouse.
Has he directed things in the
Nope.
past?
He's
No.
only been a producer. What are his credits on IMDb?
I guess like when you're in that type of when you're in that type of position though, it's not you're gonna be like, well, one day I want to direct. Like he's already so high on the totem pole. Like you're not really gonna go down.
And also, he doesn't have time in his life to take a year out of his life to direct, edit, like he would not have the physical time to I'm gonna direct this actual Star Wars movie because MCU wouldn't crumble. I think there's other people that would take care of it, but
I'm sure he's got a family and like
he
other
does.
life
He has
goals.
kids and
Yeah,
a wife
exactly.
And
So
like that, so
if he's already stretching himself pretty thin.
yes, this was a big thing back in the day. Just how James Gunn was a mole for Inside DC for Feige, according to Snyder True DC 127. Yeah, and just like how apparently they copied Infinity War and Endgame copied Justice League and stuff like that. It's a fun rabbit hole when you get down. But let's take our first ad break, and then we're gonna be right back. I'm gonna pull up this clip. So yeah, give me a second here. We'll be right back. And we're back. So let's take a look here. I almost forgot how to screen share here because I remember now. You know, Feige directs the directors. It has been a minute, but Feige directs the directors. Absolutely, he gets the final say. But I just got to make sure that it's tweets liked by Travis. Now this is when you see something really bad, like Hunter Schafer's Twitter and then canceled. Yeah. What?
Just Dan looking good.
Oh, I thought you said damn.
Damn.
Like, what did you see? All right, tell me. I'm going to play it first. Just tell me if you hear the audio, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. I mean, you have such...
Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Cool.
Is it super loud?
No.
Okay, just checking because I don't want people...
franchises
so here you
in your resume. What's the one franchise out there that you covet, that you wish was yours?
Honestly, Tatiana, DC was the one that got away. You know, when I first started my producing career, this in 2008, I was producing Justice League, and it was with George Miller directing.
Oh, wow.
And moved my family to Australia. I was going to have a very different life, and I was going to basically be overseeing the DC franchise. That got away. Why I wanted to make Lego Batman is my way of getting back into DC, but it's in a very different way. But yes, I would say that's the one that I wish. Oh, if I could only have done the things I wanted to do at DC, that would have been really exciting.
Yeah, if only your career had worked out. That's too bad.
Wow.
That's what my wife says, Jenna. She said, if you had done DC, you would never have done Lego. You never done it. You wouldn't have done Sherlock Holmes. So, you know, things happen for a reason.
I mean, completely.
And those crazy Snyderverse fans would have come after you at some point.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
those
The bots
All
would have
those
been.
bots.
Oh, he called you bots!
They're still coming after me 2 weeks later.
I feel like we're in the conversation with these ladies.
You are.
Really?
It's like they're part of the show. Yeah, we're just talking, asking questions to Dan. Oh, Dan, your career wouldn't have,
Podcasting with another podcast going. That's the future right there.
Yeah. So yeah, like that to me, makes me very positive. I have to find too. There was another. There was a bunch of quotes as well that I really liked and everything like that. But
So that's an older interview, eh?
Yeah, I feel like it's. I don't know how old because they mentioned the bot, so it can't be that old.
Yeah,
but I feel like a
last few
couple years
months.
ago or something.
Which
or
is
even
weird
last
because you
year,
would have
yeah.
imagined like he would have been in talks with them for a while. It's not like he just found out today.
Within
It's
the
like-
last 100 days, right? You know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, legitimately, that's when Zaslav. It's been over 100 days now, but yeah, that's legitimately the
Yeah.
time. So
when he said Tatiana, I'm like, holy, She-Hulk's interviewing. What the hell's going on here?
yeah, not Titania, Tatiana. You know?
So would he still have to go out to Australia? Is that his plan?
well, no, that's not his
There were
plan.
some things said there that made me laugh. It's like,
Oh,
oh, your
no.
career would have been so much better if you didn't do these projects. You ain't shit, Dan.
No, he wouldn't have to go out to. Well, unless they were shooting in Australia and stuff like that and everything. But where were these other quotes here? This is from Variety. Let's see. Well, veteran producer Dan Lin is in contention for the top job overseeing DC's films and TV adaptations. Variety has confirmed that no offer has been made to Lin, and several hurdles stand in the way of the deal moving forward. Lin's production company Rideback has ties to several other studios. This is probably what Clay is referring to, including a recent first look deal. Ooh, that sucks. First look deal at Universal Pictures and development on features of Disney, Lilo and Stitch. Were Lin to decamp to Warner Bros. Discovery to run DC, his involvement with those productions would need to be sorted, if not severed outright. The first look deal, that is a kind of a pain in the ass. So if people don't know what a first look deal is, that is, hey, I've made a podcast, but I signed a first look deal with Taylor Field, and he can just say yay or nay, like, oh, that's mine now or not. But
Who did he sign that with?
With Universal.
Oh God! So Zaslav's gotta pass
Kill
it.
Universal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Universal can he makes a Warner Brothers property. Universal
No,
can
just
get
any
the
movie, like a original IP or stuff like that, or if he's
so
producing
not
like,
something stuck with Warner.
yeah,
Bros.
no, there's
Okay.
it's not like
Makes it
Universal
Batman.
gets
Universal's
Batman.
like, yeah, we're getting it now.
yeah. No, that's not anything that's gonna happen there and stuff like that. So let's see. I'm trying to find something. So if you guys have any conversation, please ask a question.
Yeah,
'cause I'm trying to. Yeah, go.
I was just gonna throw in like kind of what you were saying, Travis. How like hearing what he said in there definitely makes you happy, like optimistic, because clearly he's got passion for it, and like he always saw that as like something that got away, and now he gets the chance to like just be the guy. That's pretty exciting, and again, just everything else that we've already mentioned on top of just the passion that he was showing in that interview. I think if you're a DC fan, this is pretty exciting news. You know, coming off that dark doom cloud of just the Batgirl axe and just the other things in that weird stretch of week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think he undermines them and just okay, first IP we're doing or a new project, new Batgirl, we're gonna bring Leslie Grayson. We're just gonna do a whole new story.
Well, I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but there was rumors going around that the people currently there's management at DC that they were trying to talk to Leslie Grace about potentially staying on as Batgirl for like other projects. There was smaller tier people putting out rumors that she had said no and passed on that, but all small tier stuff and things like that. So not out of the realm of possibility and stuff like that. So.
Like if I would, yeah, that's so strange because like I get it, it's a really great opportunity to like be leading like a big franchise, like it's DC, it's Batgirl, like that's a pretty fucking big deal to be leading that, and it's just like you go through all like the hoops to get it filmed, basically wrapped up. No, that's axed, and then the same people are like, hey. You want to try this again? One last ride?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm going to go work with these other studios that, you know, maybe their projects will actually be released. I feel like that would be my mindset, but at the same time, if they're throwing around big DC dollars at me, it's
I
like,
was going to say, you got to
fuck.
write me a fat check.
I still got the
Feige
same
could-
suit.
Feige could have wrote a bigger check to her. I mean, they're trying to close the door on her. Like, Leslie, come on, we got the script here for the new Batgirl movie, and she's like, no, Feige's waiting outside in the limo. We're gonna go
In
get
the
some
limo.
dinner.
That your scenario sounds like it's painting Feige into like a Vince McMahon gonna get booted from the company. He's waiting outside in a limo, gonna go
God,
get dinner.
I hope not. I hope that day never comes. There's some sketchy Feige news that comes out.
No,
I don't
oh,
wanna
that
say
would be the end of it all. So that episode was released August 5th. So that's where good thing. Thank you all in the game. The internet
Oh, okay,
lied to me
there you
because
go.
people said like within this past year. So I thought it was like way and it makes sense because the boss thing came out. But I wonder if he was like, it's interesting because you would imagine at that point that was what 20 days ago and you imagine there must have been some conversations at that point already. So at least to me, if he's saying that right now and the conversations are happening, I feel like by his side, he wants to do it. It's just that is a sucky thing about some of them. Like the other films that he's producing, I don't think that's a big deal. The First Look thing is shitty, but they might just have to break it. Because if he just recently signed it, maybe it's like a marriage or somewhere you can get it annulled or something. Or technically... Again, the same way JJ had that deal with Warner Brothers, but still produced stuff outside, he could do something where technically he is charge of the DC stuff, but the company ride back, like anything they do as original IP is just that's for Universal. So like technically, there's a way to make it's murky, and I feel like both of them don't really want that. I imagine you'd want kind of like what Matt Reeves signed this week, where whether it's Batman or anything else, he presents this to Warner Brothers first. They get first crack. So if he's like making GeekVerse the movie, they get the script, they get everything, say, okay, either yay, we want to make this, or nay. And if they say nay, then he can go to any other studio and do what he wants. But, so we will see and everything like that. And the other thing we're going to see, hopefully not see, is a bunch of pubes laying around, because you want to be heading over to Manscaped right now, because it is, we got a few weeks left. If you haven't heard, it's Smooth Sack Summer. When you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you're scaped from pubes to bum. That's actually a true statement. You got to look after the whole area. Everything to below the waist, you got to do that. That's right. This summer, keep your balls cool while still looking hot with Manscaped, the leader in below the waist grooming and making sure we have a ball this summer and giving our partners everything they need to stay fresh. Dive head first into the Smooth Sack Summer by going to manscaped.com and using GVPOD code to get 20% off and free shipping with your order. Taylor, I imagine you're manscaping right now, so Masson can be diving head first into that ball, right?
Head first.
That's what it said.
I'm a married man, you gotta step up your game once you enter the married realm here. You gotta not only think about yourself, you're not a bachelor life. You gotta.
That's
really
a good mindset. Lots of people don't step up the game, but
they don't step up the game.
Manscaped is needed for that.
Oh, it is. I've ordered a few other products again since we got our initial bulk kits that we've deep dived into, and I've just been ordering more and more as I go when I need it, and it's essential. I'm just going to reiterate the fact that if you're going out on vacation, like to a wedding or something like that, Manscaped is the perfect wedding kit. Bring it along with you. Do your trims, your shavings, or especially do the bride a favor and help the groom out. Just you don't want to be standing up there. You'd be the best man. You're a groomsman. You look and you just see the bush just seeping out of this guy's dress pants out the bottom where his sock or his shoes are.
She's
you gotta
gonna cheat on him during the wedding. She's gonna be like, what's this loser I married? He has this nice suit, but all I can see is pubes.
Yikes! Yeah, don't let that happen. So use the code.
Don't let that happen.
No, use the code. Use the code.
Manscaped can save marriages. It's true, right, Kirklin?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm not married, so I don't know that whole extent, but I mean, it's just like a mandatory thing. I feel for just gentlemen. Once you go through the puberty, you start getting those little bush down there, and then you're like, what point does this become an issue? It's getting an issue if you're thinking that. I think so.
Yes,
you gotta have those electric razors, and why not go with Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0? It's honestly it's fantastic. You can do night cuts, you could do shower cuts, waterproof. It's absolutely fantastic. I went for a big mountain bike ride and I was just feeling smooth, and it was hot. It was hot for sure.
That's how I got that arm injury. He's like, this Manscaped razor's so good, I got to use it every time.
Like, not only does it keep you cool, having less hair down there, but also just like the aerodynamic. I feel like I'm able to just rip through the trails, and who knows, if you got some super bush, maybe it just gets caught on like a twig or something, you fly right off your bush. You don't want that happening, so you want to stay nice and smooth. And especially, again, another thing that you when you're dealing with going down the hill is just like that wind burn when it hits your lips. Sometimes you get those chapped lips, so make sure you always got that Manscaped lip balm with you. No, it's fantastic.
Exactly. So get Manscaped so you can make sure people are going down your hill nice and safe and clean and have a good time. And finish the summer off strong. You want to be looking good. There's a few more beach days left. You don't want those wedding pubes pooping out, poking out and stuff.
Pooping out? Is that what you're saying?
Either way, there's so many. It turns into poop.
Get rid of them. Get rid of them at Manscaped. So back to the episode. Clay brought up something. I'm not going to say exactly what Clay brought up. You guys don't need to look in chat, so if you don't want to be spoiled by any test screens or whatnot. But apparently, like the Flash movie does have some elements of showing what a Justice League team could look like. Things to that nature and everything.
Didn't we already see a Justice League? So now I know what a Justice League team up would be like.
In Peacemaker, you mean?
Peacemaker. Oh, I didn't hear Peacemaker. I apologize.
No, what do you mean? See, what are you talking about? Just saw Justice League.
Because you said like this will be the first time we get that feel of what a Justice League team up would be like, and I'm like, didn't we already see that in the
After
Justice League movie?
two Justice League movies.
2 movies. Well, I
Yeah.
meant like what it would look like in this new universe in a sense and
yes.
stuff like
Sorry,
that. But
threw off your flow.
that's where of course bastard. Let's kick. No, I don't want to kick him. That creates a separate
Don't kick
track
me, I'll complain
break
later,
The fourth
yeah.
wall. Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm editing. Don't worry, people. Justice League. So people have talked about this because there's still this is where I'll start with this one because I got to pull up the suits as well. Taylor, Aquaman got delayed this week and Flash. And Shazam. So now Shazam comes in March, Flash in June, July. I always forget what it is. I think it's July, and then Aquaman in December. What do you think? It's funny that Flash is coming in July.
No, I just had this theory. It's just
Uh-oh.
again. I'm just thinking my thoughts. I'm just thinking like I
That's
didn't
a
want
dangerous game, Taylor.
I
Thinking
know.
in your
Thoughts,
thoughts.
yeah. Don't play that. But now tell us what it is. And what do you think?
I didn't want to say anything in the Discord or anything like that. I'll keep this to myself, and if it comes to talking about it, I'll talk about it. But I was just thinking, you know what? You got Dwayne Johnson. He's super just ripped about his Black Adam movie, and he goes up to the execs. He's like, you know what? You got to fucking boot all these other DC projects to next year. I want my movie to reign in 2022. Keep those other projects super far away from my film. Yeah, I don't think that's actually what happened, but I was just like daydreaming it, like him in a boardroom, just
I can
fucking,
picture like right after his workout, dude. So he's like dripping
You're gonna
in,
fucking do
and he
this?
wears
You're
those
gonna
like
delay those
chains and like a huge fucking weight. So he's probably just dragging that in. Zoa's all around him.
get these movies out of my year.
He's like,
My
you see these
year.
weights I'm dragging? That's me dragging DC on my back, you fucking assholes. And he's just like crushing Zoas on
Fucking
his head.
nerds.
Yeah. Look at you in your suits. Dan Lin, is that your name? Yeah, I think it doesn't matter what your name is, motherfucker.
It's not The Rock.
Yeah, not Dwayne The Rock Johnson, 3-time biggest star of ever. Fucking, I love Zoas.
Sorry, what was your initial question?
So Aquaman is now
question.
Aquaman is now after Flash. So remember, there was this kind of theory of Flash is going to happen, and then the new Batman in the DCU is going to be Keaton. But now Alpha came back to film scenes for Aquaman. Aquaman is now after Flash. So there's kind of this theory as well. Looks like Affleck again might not be completely gone, and Keaton might just be a one and done. He's going to be in Flash, do that, and that's kind of gone. So after news like that, and then after this guy, obviously we don't really know anything from his filmography to point you in any direction, but this is like a few weeks after the Batgirl thing. Do you feel, Taylor, that we are going to get a reboot, or do you think we're going to salvage what is here?
Oh, that is the ultimate question. I personally think they should salvage what they have here. I think that when I say that, salvaging doesn't necessarily mean like, hey, you got to stick with. I know, obviously, like certain actors and actresses have not been on the greatest end of the spectrum with Warner Brothers DC at this time. But when I say salvage, it doesn't mean you are gonna like go back in the cookie jar and keep pulling those resources and using them in future projects. I think that it implies, okay, we could, like you've mentioned in the past, even with like Flashpoint or something like that, just kind of like alternate the current timeline with new
they're doing
characters.
that's what
actors,
Flash
and
is,
stuff.
though, unfortunately.
That's what Flash is, yeah.
But
so
lots of time to reshoot and change a bunch of stuff. That movie didn't come out to next July, so that's a long time away.
yeah, so yeah. Like I would like them to salvage it because I think there's some things that I really do enjoy that they've created with the current universe. I think it's awesome, but at the same time, I get why they would maybe want to reboot it and just say, okay, you know what? It's been so murky. We've had our highs and lows. Let's just start fresh. We're gonna get Dan Lin in here. We're just gonna kind of go at it. We got Matt Reeves doing his own thing
As
over here.
Superman.
Yeah. So yeah, it's tough.
The second question is, and this is where I think people are jumping to conclusion, but it's still a talking point. So Justice League, whether it's a Justice League subtitle, Justice League like 2, whatever it may be, he was producing one, right? At some point, I do have it here. Let me do a screen share of this is what it was looking like in 2007 and 8. They had a full, like the roster's actually like a full Justice League team. It's not like missing a bunch of people and stuff like that. Let me try and zoom in and everything like that. But There's Army Hammer's Batman right there. You got that going on. And
Is that the Deep right there?
well, no, that's Aquaman.
It does look like him.
That's Aquaman. Martian Manhunter's like bodysuit is not
yeah.
looking too great, and Green Lantern is not looking the greatest. But this, like, you gotta think about this in 2000, 2008. Like, they're comic accurate costumes, and they have like the most popular members. Like, this is to me the Justice League. It's like there's been obviously very different versions throughout years, but like this is the Justice League.
Is that Justin Long in the Superman costume?
No, it's not. I can't remember who they had for that. I can't remember who they had for all these people. I think most of them are still acting. I still will say I'm very disappointed that the guy, now Adam Brody has Flash, would have been pitched. He would have been the greatest Flash of all time. Like, he would have been top 10 comic casting, I guarantee you. But yeah, no, this was being made by George Miller, who did Mad Max and 3,000 Years Long and stuff like that. But so he was producing this at the time. First of all, Tia, what do you think about these costumes?
Oh, I just want to say that honestly, like, if I didn't know you better, I could feel like that's Rob on the left there.
Rob Pattinson?
Yeah, like it's just his bat suit from like this just looks like the
calls him
Batman
Rob?
bat suit.
Who calls him Rob? You
Just
know?
on the down low.
The first name basis Taylor has throws me
Like,
off.
it does,
yeah.
but definitely looks like the cheaper version. Like, it looks like the cosplayer that couldn't exactly do it, you know?
I need a closer look to.
If it was
There's not
by
many good
himself
images,
and like
yeah.
better lighting and like again this far away, I probably could have been convinced. Be like, oh yeah, that's probably Robert Pattinson.
This is a picture of the next Justice League. It's gonna be Robert Pattinson with this group of people and everything like that. But
And
obviously,
Martian Man Hulk.
yeah, has no legs. He's just kneeling like
I'm a
everything.
kneeler. Yeah.
It just throws off the whole picture that he's kneeling. You know, it's just kind of weird. But so
And then you have
obviously,
Green Lantern like so far off to the right.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like he doesn't trust these guys. This is like the heat of COVID.
it was pretty expensive. Says all in the game question mark. I imagine it should have been, but the good thing is they casted pretty much no name actors and actresses, so that helped. But today, what I got to ask you is, do you think, let's say Dan Lin, he gets this job? Obviously, at one point he was producing Justice League. He talked about in an interview, right? As like the one that got away. Do you think that he would immediately, like in the first, I'll say 2 years, do a Justice League film, whatever it is, reboot, salvaging, whatever it is? Or do you think it is just, that could be something we see down the line? But obviously people are drawing this line because, you know, he almost did have a Justice League movie. Now, if he's the head, he can make that Justice League movie happen. So what do you think in, like, let's say the first 2 years of his run, do we see a Justice League movie no matter what the circumstances are?
Well, he could be pretty bold. He could be like, you know what, Zack Snyder, who? It's gonna be my movie now. Like my movie's gonna reign
That's his first
supreme.
statement, and the Snyder fans are just, yeah.
Snyder, ooh.
They're like you bring back the Snyderverse, like Snyderverse, like, oh yeah, Zack Snyder's film, yeah, Zack Snyder who, and then just the internet.
God. He's wearing a
bursts.
cowboy hat and like big cigar in his mouth too. Huge belt
Big
buckle
belt.
too. Yeah.
He's
Fuck
just
Snyder.
Stephen Young's character from Nope.
Yeah. Oh god.
In all seriousness, I think it's something like in his little journal he's probably got a journal with all his little notes.
What the
and,
fuck? Do you have a little journal, Taylor? Is this a personal thing?
I've used a few little journals in my life, but yeah, I'm sure he's got one. He's got all his little like notes and stuff in there, and I guarantee he's
Zack Snyder.
yeah, he's written it right on the cover of his little journal. But no, he probably
His little journal too,
his
not just a
little
regular journal, little journal.
It's gotta
Has
go
be
in your back
Kirkland's mouth.
pocket.
Yeah, Kirkland can store it, like, you know.
I guarantee he's got Justice League written in there somewhere.
But is it in the first 2 years?
In the first 2 years, no, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I feel like he's in a position now where, again, he's got the reins to everything here. So he's probably gonna tackle a couple other things. I imagine he's got a concept of what he wants to explore before getting into the Justice League team up. I don't know if you want to parallel the whole Marvel concept where, hey, let's do like a few Marvel standalone films and build up to that first Avengers film. I mean, there's no harm in him doing that. It just has to be done properly. Yeah.
Plus, if he doesn't
cohesively.
reboot, that is those characters already. Like, we talk about that in the Discord as far as like, oh, it has to be maybe a 3-hour movie, stuff like that. Yeah, is John Cena playing Bane in your journal, Taylor?
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, I
Absolutely.
pitched it to him, and Dan Lynn's got it written down in his little journal.
But like,
It's like, I'm gonna write that down, and I'm also gonna get a little book.
a little journal, yeah. Kirk's little journal, yeah. And it's little like Lil John, like it's not the word little, like Lil, you know. But like
Little
that's-
John on the cover too, just to really.
Lil
keep it
John
going.
and Dan Lin, Big Dan Lin, Lil John and Big Dan. We're calling him Big Dan Lin from now
Yes.
But anyways, now I have no fucking clue what I was talking about.
Oh
at
no,
all.
I'm sorry.
What I was saying is the runtime. The good thing is if you bring back even Aquaman and Wonder Woman, they've had multiple solo films. You don't have to reintroduce them. They already have their
Right.
stories. If Ben does come back, to me, it's just like the question of, it sounds like Ben is back, but it's like, is Ben back for cameos or is he back like Downey levels, like being a supporting character? I don't think he is a main star. Like, I don't think you'll get the Batman movie with him. I think, especially, it's still strange that, he says, oh, I was done with big blockbuster movies, and then, a few months later, he's in Aquaman. So I really don't know what's going on with the dude, but I think he's just like, fuck it, I'll get paid for this. So if he's back supporting Ezra Miller, obviously that's like a very 50-50 situation, so I'd put that to the side. Ray Fisher's always said he would come back if Walter Hamada wasn't around, and if he takes over, Walter Hamada will not be around. So, but even then, to me, if you had Affleck, Momoa, and Gal Gadot, and then let's say you had Sacha Kaye as Supergirl, and who knows about fucking Henry Cavill, but Sacha Kaye as Supergirl, and you had, I guarantee you'd probably put in a Green Lantern, even if it would be a new actor, but that would be a hype casting and stuff like that, right? Like, even if half the Justice League you've introduced, I think you can do that in 2.5 hours. If it's a new movie, that's where I guess where I'm answering. I think that if he keeps and salvages what's going on, if you look at Flash, that's maybe going to reset a few things, right? And then you got Aquaman. You could be in a perfect situation to, hey, we're going to do Justice League next because all these people have had some solo films and stuff like that. Let's do a big kick to open the door, because I do want more Justice League movies. I want a movie that is Avengers well, actually, we got that with Snyder Cut, but I want that theatrical, and I want there to be a plan of, okay, we're doing Justice League, and there's going to be a Justice League 3, and it's continuing. There's a full story. Like, when we see them in Peacemaker, okay, they are a unit, but how much are they a unit? Is there the Watchtower? Are they hanging out at Wayne Manor? Are they friendly? I just want to know, what is the situation? Because they keep hinting. They always drop the Justice League, but then we see fucking Henry Cavill shadowed and Wonder Woman shadowed and stuff like that. So, and his head is cut off and all this thing. So it's like, what is going on? Let's just get a team here. So if they salvage it, I think they could do it. I don't know about if they reboot, because I think it's bold to say, hey, we're going to reboot, and the first film we're doing is a Justice League movie. That's bold. I wouldn't mind it. It'd be fun to see, but at the same time, then that is a lot bigger. So I do think the Justice League movie is possible. First 2 years, if it's salvaging, if it's a reboot, I think you wait a little bit. But also, to my pitch is that I think Aquaman would come out, and there would be one other two like produced by Dan Lin movies before he got to Justice League. I just don't think either scenario that he would lead with Justice League first, especially because he's probably learned so much. Justice League was 2007, 2008. Look how many years ago that was. Now he might be in a situation where, you know what, I don't want to start that way. I saw how that went. I want to start smaller, this or that. So I feel like you would at least get a few films. So I guess I'd actually say maybe if it was in the 2 years, it would be like just on the brink, like the very back end of the 2 years. So what about you, Kirklin, as far as like a Justice League 2 or whatever it could be?
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty safe to put my chips on. Like, we're waiting a little bit to get that Justice League movie. Now, I will say, like, it's just from that quick little snippet that you played of the audio of Dan Lin just talking about the passion that he had and like really wanted to do it. I guarantee
His name is Big Dan Lin.
Oh,
Big
sorry,
Dan
yeah,
Lin.
Big Dan,
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
Dan Lin.
Yeah.
He's like
Mr. Big Dan Lin.
Yeah, Mr. Dan Lin, we got an interview for you. Hey, it's Big Dan. It's Big Dan.
You see
Lin.
the belt
Yeah,
buckle?
Yeah,
Big.
I'm not sure.
B-I-G.
It's got like big, like bejeweled cowboy boots too.
100%.
That's how I picture it. Yeah.
Rock's like, I got one of those
God.
too.
He's like a fucking oligarch or something. I like it. I like this new headcanon I have for this dude that I just found out of who he is today. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, like I guarantee Justice League is like a big like, okay, this is my like really passion project. Like this is gonna be it. But I feel like if you're gonna lead with that, I just see so many more ways it going wrong than going right. So I would trust that they would wait a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that you have to wait that long because, yeah, as you're mentioning, like we do already have like some set characters. I think, like say what you will about that first Justice League movie, the main thing that really stood out to me was it was so soon to have a movie like that. I'm like, I'm meeting these characters right now as they're assembling, and I'm just having like no time to really like appreciate them on their own. And yeah, it was just by the end of it, like I feel like it was a common thing. Like I was talking to some people, it's like, oh, what do you think of it? It's just like it was too much. Like I was trying to follow like what was going on. Whereas if you lay those breadcrumbs, if you take your time, by the time that you get to that big team up, like it's just what's so funny? Did I say something?
I didn't hear crumbs.
You definitely said breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs.
That was a terrible image I had.
Oh no!
You just taking a bite of the bread, and the bread's like, oh. Now, do you think
In a sense, maybe that is the breadcrumb.
those people that you talk to, do you think they would say that the same thing about like the 4-hour Snyder Cut movie? Because that's the thing where it's like it is the team hold together, but you get a lot more time in that. But you
Yeah.
can never do that in the theaters, right? You can never put that out.
Exactly. I completely agree. Like in that movie, even if you had never seen like any of their solo projects, I feel like that movie gives you enough to be like,
Yeah,
okay, I feel
there's
like
a
I know
lot.
where this guy's coming from. Whereas they're like the first Justice League, it's just like, oh wow, okay, introduced to this character, and now
2
they're just on a
hours.
mission. Yeah, yeah, it's wild. So
Half of
again,
what Snyder Cut is a flat 2 hours in and out.
I don't because how many movies before regular Avengers for MCU? It
I
was
think there was
4,
5 or
Five.
6. You had the 2 Iron Man, you had Thor,
Yeah.
Hulk, Captain America. So you had 5.
So I'm gonna almost cut that in half and maybe say like 2 or 3 projects. Like I could see us like getting to that point that we are doing the team up. So yeah, that's where I'd put that. And again, I feel like if like that's my want, and if I had to put my chip somewhere, I would still kind of keep it in that route because this is a big like undertaking. Dan Lynn's in this, and again, I have no reason to believe that he's not going to be fully in on it and like his passion for it as well as like a business
That's the one
executive
project.
situation.
He's like, no, find someone else for Justice League. Like, I want to do all this other
Yeah.
stuff, but not Justice League. It doesn't interest me. I
It doesn't
did my
interest Big
Justice
Dan
League.
Lynn.
Yeah. That was Lil Dan Lynn in 2007. I'm Big Dan Lynn now. It's all the
Speaks to
bigger-
himself in third person.
Yeah, but just hates him. They're like, Dan. He said, no, please call
so
me Big Dan Lynn.
egotistic. Yeah.
Yeah, you think he's gonna be really nice when you say Mr. Lynn? He's like, no, please call me Mr. Big Dan Lynn. Him and The Rock getting it together, great. I agree with Superbad. Mike Green Lantern could be a big new addition they focus on. I think
Yeah.
you just have to. You have to do that. And this is one. Do you guys think Black Adam would be involved in the possible Justice League movie? I think that all depends in October. I think if it's a hit, absolutely. I've always said that's why they're doing the anti-hero route that I said. Now, I said that, you're going to for sure see The Rock in a Justice League movie. That's when I thought Black Adam was going to kill. I don't know if Black Adam's going to kill like box office wise anymore. I think it'll make a profit, but I'm so like, I feel like people are not turning on the movie, but they're feeling a lot more iffy on Black Adam now. But if that is successful, yeah, I don't care. People, he's Black Adam, he's a villain, I want to be a villain. Doesn't matter. It's The Rock, he's playing Black Adam. I've always thought that was the idea, to do this, do spin-offs, but then get him into the Justice League. And that can be the thing. He can be the anti-hero on the team, right? Can we trust him? Stuff like that. They have to work with him. So, I don't know. Do you guys think that Black Adam would be in the next Justice League movie?
I completely agree with what you said. I feel like it's all numbers game. If it does incredibly successful numbers, and like you have The Rock on there, like he's
You have The
like,
Rock, yes.
like not even like the biggest actor. It's just like the biggest individual in the world. Like why would you not
Literally.
incorporate that in your project? Like you're gonna get such a boost in income. So yeah, and like I feel like I'm not too well versed on Black Adam the character, but just the fact that if it does really successful, like I'm sure you can write him in very easily. Just the fact that he is that anti-hero, like swaying along those alignments type character.
Yeah, and man, I can't wait for the Zoa promotional tour. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I want like a Zoa shirt at this point. My gosh.
Do you think they will reboot everything and start fresh with the Batman? Taylor answer the Black Adam one and then answer that one.
You've so much time and money has gone into the Black Adam thing. I think that just kind of carries over a bit. I mean, it's tricky because it's again like what I was talking about before with salvaging or like rebooting. I'm just wondering like, okay, what are they gonna pick and choose to kind of keep these universes going on? I guess I don't know. It'll be very interesting to
Rock's
see.
banging down at the door.
Oh,
Where's
yeah.
my movie? Where's my sequel? I
Big
know where you are,
Dan!
Big Dan. Yeah. Come fight the Rock, and he just rips his shirt off, but then has a heart attack on Warner Brothers lawn.
Oh no.
Big
Don't
Dan
will that
kicks his
into
ass.
existence.
Big Dan. Just
There's a new
embarrasses the
Rock in town.
Yeah, just squashes him, just
God.
embarrasses the Rock in front of everybody. Huh? This is what happens if your movie fails with me, you know? Patton, you're next. And Patton's just shivering in the corner. I'm
Picture
British.
Big Dan like lifting this fucking 6'8" monster on top of him.
One-handed.
This is your king.
He has like a basketball court in his office, and he just slam dunks Dwayne Johnson.
Look at the first Space Jam. He like dribbles him like the Monstars do.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
100%, yeah. Oh God,
Fuck.
Big Dan secretly ripped has his own Samoan tattoo, ripped like an MMA fighter.
I love it.
Like I love
it.
that everything we've heard and seen about this guy, he does not fit this description. At all.
No, yeah, he's probably super like clean cut, like very, very well spoken gent.
So Taylor, if they do reboot, do you think that do you think that they would say, "Hey, the Batman is the new DC universe," or do you think the Batman, like the Batman with Rob, your friend, would it always stay separate?
I think the Batman with Rob would always stay separate. I think even Matt Reeves would probably like petition for that as well. I feel like
Rocky with Simon petition.
Yeah,
It's like, I can't. My hands.
I feel like he's creating his own thing, and like what he created with the Batman, he created that without the intention of it being hindered or helped or touched upon by any of these other IPs or
Not even
characters.
helped. Wow. Don't
Not
help
even
me.
helped.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's my own thing.
Exactly. So he's moving forward with his own
They're
cohesive
like, you need the
storyline.
$100 million, Matt. He's like, no, I'll find it
No,
myself.
fuck off.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's going to kind of stick to its own thing.
I agree. I don't have much to add there. Thank you, Geek Studios, for the question. But yeah, I think that it would just, especially because they're doing the shows, and Reeves has talked about that before, where he's like, oh, I like the MCU, but I could never do that. And I feel like he'd be getting put in this box. And there's obviously this week, again, to start the whole realistic, grounded, gritty Batman debate. But it's just like, I don't think that Batman movie is built to have Wonder Woman and Superman flying around and kicking ass and doing all this. Like, I don't want that. People may hate that, but what I think is the best scenario, get the grounded, more realistic Batman in his solo Batman movies, and then when you got the badass alien fighting gadgets fighting Clayface Batman, having him in the crossovers, whether it's Affleck or not, have that character over there, and then it's a perfect world. You got crossover Batman, and that would be work for Ben. And I've said this before, I want Ben back. I would like him if he's game to do it. I just don't want him to also come back and then like quit again. I don't want to be this and like, you know what, I'm done. Like, it's shit or get out the pot time. And hopefully that's what Dan Lin kind of says. Like, he puts him in a toilet and he says, you gotta listen to Big Bad Dan. Now I'm not gonna say he's Big Bad Dan now, that's when he's mad though, but Big Dan, like, hopefully they can just get a decision out of him, like, hey, do you want to do this or do you not want to do this? And like, not just the cameos and everything like that. So
What was your toilet phrasing there? Because you said big
shit
Dan's
or get off
gonna,
the pot.
and so Dan's getting him off the shit.
He would
shitter?
literally sit him on a toilet and be like, that's where the discussion happens and everything like that. So
okay.
that's why I stopped the joke, because I didn't think it was a good one. So I backed away from it. But you brought me right back
Oh,
to
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Rock's
didn't let you
banging
get
on
away
the
with that
bathroom
one.
stall door. Rock's like,
You
let
guys
me in,
let
Big Dan.
days."
Let
Yeah.
Ben out of there.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Big Dan.
Just bruised and beaten up.
Yeah. What about you, Kirklin? You think if there was a reboot that the Batman would be a part of that or stay separate?
No, I agree with what you guys said. I think that's like, even before that movie came out, I feel like it was very much like, this is its own thing. We're doing our own universe. What's so funny?
Oh, that's what I was saying. I already got a new video idea. It's for
Oh,
the
yeah.
cast, the Ballad of
Ballad
Big
of-
Dan. I like that, the Ballad of Big Dan Lin. You got to put Dan Lin, because that for your SEO S-Bubs, that'll help, because his name's going to be all over YouTube this weekend. So you got to put Dan Lin in there. But, oh, yeah.
I hope it just gains traction. So one Comic-Con, someone's like, how does it feel to be called, Big Dan Lin?
He's like,
"I
where'd that
fucking
come
love it."
from? Yeah. He's like, yeah, let's call him over.
Yeah, I was watching
We
the GeekVerse podcast on August 25th.
We think it came from The Rock. Like Dwayne was calling you Big Dan.
Yeah.
No,
It's like,
it
what's
came
the
from these
beef between you and The Rock?
That's how we make it. Our first movie is Big Dan Lin calls us in like, what do you guys want to make? And I'd be like, well, don't let us touch Batman, because I don't trust us. But, actually, you know what I trust us with? I trust myself with Batman. Give us Batman 66, but updated version. I think we would make a killer, like a kind of parody, spoofy Batman, and get like some fun actors. I think we would kill at that, so... But yeah, that's all news. It's been a whole hour on it. It's big. Hopefully this happens. It's not like next week, oh yeah, Dan didn't work out. Because one, I just want Big Bad Dan to stick around. But two, hopefully it's not just, oh yeah, it fell through and we're on to someone else. Like, I want to get that person so they can start laying the foundation. Yes, Aquaman is still not out till next December now, but it's like, that's, to me, I still think that's great, because that's tons of time to plan. You have movies banked. You can get them out. He can take his time, see it work, see what these movies do box office wise. It doesn't have to be like, hey, Black Adam came out, and now you got to figure out in a month if you want to do a sequel. No, you can take time and everything like that. So I hope this is the guy, from one, to get a guy, and two, just because I like the resume. What's going to suck is if we get another person and it's less of them, we're going to be like, man, I wish we had Big Dan, because like, and I'm hoping with the trades talking about this, I think it is going to happen. I think it's just going to be like a merger where it might take some time because he has to deal with this first look deal and everything like that. But yeah, go ahead, Taylor.
I was gonna say we need Big Dan to drop the the bread comes for us.
The bread comes, yeah. That's I'm just bread coming all the time, right? He's just like Jeremy Piven from like Entourage or something like that. He's just always jacked up. I have my own drink, but so we're gonna move into the Marvel world after this next ad break. So we will be right back. And we're back. So go check out our She-Hulk review because we did our episode 2 spoilers. So this will have some spoilers of She-Hulk, but not really. It's more of like an idea and like an Easter egg, just talking about everything like that. But it doesn't spoil any big character reveals, development, stuff like that. So She-Hulk happened, and we do these things at midnight. So I didn't see this at all. You gotta shout out to all the eagle-eyed people out there watching these shows. So you get. I don't think so. Take that down. I don't think it's that bad that you need to put spoiler alert She-Hulk. I really don't think so. It's one article. Taylor disagrees. Like, yeah, fucking Big Taylor's gonna go hard on you. But apparently there was like the bread. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I can't remember. I don't know if I think it's like a website, and it like has these links and stuff like that. And there was someone eagle-eyed zoomed in, and there was 2 of them. One, there was like, does anyone know why there's like a frozen statue in the lake or something? So it's like, okay, finally this fucking thing in Eternals that froze in the air is like getting addressed, still not on screen. I feel like they should still be like, what is this thing? What's he cooking? But alas, haven't got that yet. But it got acknowledged. And then the other thing, which obviously got the people just running around. Because you got Miss Marvel, right? Where Miss Marvel's, you got mutated genes. So she's a mutant. Looks like she's going to be maybe not part of the X-Men, but she's a mutant, right? And now with our next Disney Plus show, we get another potential X-Men connection of some sorts. It said, man with metal claws found in bar fight. So Taylor Fields, do you think this is actually, because there's 2 scenarios here. Either it's just a fun Easter egg that could just be making people talk, chatter, or do you think this is actually implying that Wolverine is, the character of Wolverine is already operating in the MCU?
Well, I think everyone needs to be cautious because this could be a Ralph Boner. Or this is I think that's definitely something people need to be worried about, just in case. It can't be 100% certain on it, but I think it's still probably like a 99% chance certainty. Okay, yeah,
that's good odds.
Yeah.
I think
like
it's
stay cautious, but 99%.
That 1%, stay fucking cautious with the rest. Oh yeah.
But I think that him being around this whole time, I can get on board with that. It's not something I ever feel like, it needed to be mentioned like prior. Like, yeah, he's just been kicking around this whole time. No, just at some point they mention it like as a little Easter egg here. Like, yeah, he's been around. He ages very slowly, so he would just be in the background. He's not engaging anything prominently. Like we've seen that already with some of these mainline heroes, like the Eternals, for example. They don't always come together and engage in the Thanos stuff. They've got their own priorities. And if he's in a bar or he's just down on his luck, he's probably just really fucked up at this time and just doesn't care about Thanos or anything like that to go in and help. And I feel like again, depending how they want to introduce him and get into that, like he might not even be the X-Men. We don't know how the X-Men are really a thing right now. Like we don't know where their place is, if they've ever reached out to Wolverine, if they're, there's so much that they need to fill in the void with. So to me, just to have this little tidbit of an Easter egg nodding towards Wolverine, I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. And it's a nice, juicy reminder that, hey, we did kind of just drop a major thing with the X-Men theme in Miss Marvel and Miss Marvel being a mutant. So I feel like, okay, it's just another reminder that we're dabbling and getting into this kind of this world now with the mutants, and just what they're gonna kind of what the like the be all end all like introduction is gonna be. Are we gonna get that Xavier? Are we gonna get that just slam dunk of an introduction?
We did get Xavier, like obviously was the Patrick Stewart one that's dead, but still we got mutant stuff in Doctor Strange, right? So that's like a bunch of projects back to back. Now I don't think that's gonna happen in. I guess it is kind of technically Namor is a mutant, so like he's not a part of like the Fox licensing, but he is a mutant. His character, he's one of like the first mutants and stuff like that. So you got a couple of them in there. So we're set to debut in Eternals. That's how they're gonna get people to come back to watch it. It's like, people are down with Eternals. You gotta fucking come see Wolverine
on the cover as opposed to like the fucking
he's
10
like
Eternals
massive, and the rest of the people are like behind him and stuff like that. But
Wolverine and the Eternals.
Yeah. What about you, Kirkland? Do you think
Yeah.
Wolverine is in the MCU right now, or do you think this is just like something to get people talking? Because this could easily just be some dude with metal claws. It's not.
Yeah.
It's like knife fingers or something.
The Ralph
No.
Boner version.
Yeah, but I
Ralph
don't think
Boner.
they would ever actually do like what Clay says. I don't think they would really Ralph Boner Wolverine. I don't think you'd ever get like a reveal. Like I don't think you'll ever see Wolverine in this show. I don't think they would say
Be
yeah.
bold.
Yeah, that would be bold.
Yeah. I love this detail. I love whoever it was that caught this. I'm taking this bank. I feel like yes, this is actually okay. We got Wolverine lingering, and I feel like if anybody has an issue, it'd be like, well, where was he this whole time? You got to remember, like there was just 5 years. That's basically like untouched, right, with the whole blip situation.
Yeah.
So I feel like this just makes total sense, and I really love that idea of like, okay, we're coming out when they eventually do a Wolverine project or even an X-Men thing. It's not like we're going through the whole what's it called, project. What was it? The Wolverine project where he became.
Oh, Weapon X.
Yeah, we don't have to go through this whole Weapon X thing. Like it's already happened, and like maybe they call back to it. Maybe that's a reoccurring thing that happened with like that first X-Men movie. But still, like I think this works really good, and just like drop it in there again, like for the diehards that pause at every frames that saw this. I feel like that's a great thing to catch, and it's the type of character that's such like. He's so big, it's not like, okay, an Easter egg of Mr. Goo or something. It's like, oh, this super
Mr.
deep
Goo.
cut, this
Mr.
deep
Goo,
cut
yeah.
comic book character. Like, oh, they talked about him. Like this is Wolverine. Like this is a big deal. So I don't think they would be really dancing around that too much. Like this is probably just, yeah, we actually have some plans, so we're gonna start dropping some breadcrumbs here, and I think this is an awesome way to do it. So I'm totally super jazzed off of. I call it news, but it's not even really news. It's just like this was in the show.
Yeah. Well, and something actually in there, and they know what they're doing, right? And that's where it's like, even if they don't have any intentions, they know this was going to get people talking. For me, it's tough to be, because I still it all scenarios, because I know I do agree with you guys where it's like, oh yeah, where have they been? It's like, oh, so many times 5 years, lots of things happen, characters in the background. But like the mutants and the X-Men are such a big deal. It's like, have they all just been hiding? Like all of them? Has there just been a few? Like what's the situation with Xavier McNeil? So there's so many questions. It's tough now because with Fantastic Four, we know that's not going to be an origin movie, so I'd assume that they're already in the world, right? So same thing with X-Men. With Wolverine, it kind of fits because he ages a little. He has slower age. I think it's kind of like a lone traveler and stuff. So this could work. It's just still weird to me thinking that he is around and he hasn't. It's not him. It's what the baggage comes with him, like a Weapon X, like Xavier, anything like that. So, and I kind of would. I don't know. I was gonna say I'd kind of like to see his first meeting with our X-Men, but at the same time, we kind of got that in the Fox universe, and they like to do different things. So I really don't know where I am on this one. I know obviously it was done on purpose. I would say that they are somewhere in this universe because yes, 5 years is a long time, but they definitely would have mentioned it. I imagine at this point, like, hey, this new race of people popped up in the past few years while you were gone, but they haven't yet. But at the same time, we just got that with Miss Marvel, right, where he was somehow, oh, your genes are mutated or whatnot. So it's like. I really don't know, but this leads to S-Bub's question, which, when you support us on Patreon, you can send questions anytime for these newscasts. Any tier, by the way. Do you think Wolverine will debut in an X-Men project, or will he appear somewhere or in something else first? If you said option 1, then what percentage chance would you say for him debuting in Phase 5? I think it's so I've always had this scenario where I said the first X-Men movie should not have Wolverine, but I think the counter of that is, yeah, you do that, but then you have Wolverine do his own solo thing, because Wolverine is a big enough character that I think a Marvel, Disney, MCU-led Wolverine movie, that could be $1 billion movie. I really do think so. They could pump and everything like that. I think he could appear somewhere else, and I do think now, like him appearing in Phase 5, I know everyone thinks like Phase 6 will be the Mutant Saga, and that could be, or wait a second, or Phase 6 is that's still the Multiverse Saga. Mm-hmm. So Phase 5, that's before. Like they're laying the groundwork here, and I could see it because I could see him popping up in Secret Wars. So I think it's possible if they're already saying this type of stuff, he could be the first because he is just a bankable star, and even then it could be Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in Secret Wars. But I'll say yes. I think we could see Wolverine in Phase 5. So.
Yeah, I'll go next. I agree. I think we will see him in Phase 5. like it would have to be an X-Men movie, right, for the team up. Like it's possible. Like
Yeah, like it's not like the first time you see wouldn't be like the X-Men movie, which still hasn't been announced at all.
right.
Maybe in 2 weeks.
I don't think it would be in the X-Men. I think also though, like it is possible that it's not in his own project. Like maybe it's someone else's, and then it's already been, I guess, hinted at in She-Hulk, right? So that's a separate project, and in a TV show alone, I think they wouldn't reveal that in a TV show. You know, not to diss the streaming platform in any means, but yeah, pardon me. I feel like that would be like a big movie thing. So I think it could be like shown, like, okay, you actually see that character in an end credit scene or just something. I don't know, like a Charlie Cox situation where he's in it for like a scene, and then the next thing would be like his own project. But I don't know where that would lie on the time frame of like if we already have an X-Men project, like a movie. Like I don't know if they would be coming afterwards. Luckily, that's not in the question, so I don't have to answer that.
Taylor.
Do I think Wolverine will debut in an X-Men project, or will he first appear in something else? I feel like he's going to appear in something else over the X-Men project. I think they're going to take that time to kind of put the spotlight on these other X-Men characters that, again, I defer to this a lot. It's the Luke Skywalker Rey kind of component where if you put Wolverine in there, I feel like he's just going to take all the spotlight, and you
100%.
don't want that. You want to introduce these other characters first and get them established, and then bring in Wolverine after the fact. Like you said, we get X-Men first and then Wolverine brought in because he can spearhead his own project. We've seen that multiple times already. He can successfully spearhead his own project. So I think that's probably the case that they'd run with.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't think we're going to get any more answers with She-Hulk, but I definitely think that people are going to ask Feige in interviews and stuff like that. And it is a bold thing. Like calling Kamal immune, that's one thing, but putting a alleged mention of a potential Wolverine appearance, that's a big thing. And that's not something I was expecting out of She-Hulk, you know?
Could it be, maybe it's not even alluding to Wolverine. Maybe it's just like the new Black Panther or something like that. Just
Man with claws and bar fight.
Metal
Could
claws
be.
just goes to a bar.
Yeah, it could
kicks
be.
the
That's
shit
the
out of
thing.
It really could be.
anybody. Yeah.
My mind just went to I know it's a comic book thing, but playing Ultimate Spider-Man, when you play, I think it's the first time you play as Venom, and then you fight Wolverine in the bar. So anytime I like picture Wolverine in the bar, that's the scene I think of there. So
It's the same bar where Tom Hardy was in.
yeah, absolutely.
There once was a man in a tin suit. He died. I hate those movies, but I did love that end. Like him explaining all that. Like the man in there was a purple alien. Good stuff. But yeah, so we'll see what happens and everything like that. So after this conversation, I don't know. Next topic. I don't know what the fuck I was trying to. I had no transition to any of these other ones I was going to talk about. But so Netflix is just apparently popping off with the Sony collaborations and stuff like that. So there's two things today that came out that we know. There was a Horizon Dawn or Zero Dawn, whatever they're going to call it, just Horizon series at work at Netflix. I guess that, so Umbrella Academy, they're getting a season 4, and then that is the final season. After that season, those showrunners will move on to go work on Horizon. And then they announced that there's a Big Dad, or sorry, not Big Dad movie, there's a Bioshock movie being made at Netflix.
Big Dan movie.
Big Dan movie. First DC movie starring me versus Superman. I kick the shit out of Superman. But but no, there's a Bioshock movie being worked in at Netflix, and I guess it's happening. This is something that's been, I feel like, long and kind of like development hell and everything like that. Like we've heard this brought up so many times. I feel like different people optioning and like, oh, we're gonna make that stuff, but Netflix is the one. You know, this is what they're hoping is gonna turn the tide for the subscribers and stuff like that. So Taylor, I'm gonna start with you because I don't know where you are with Umbrella Academy. Did you only watch the first season?
I only did the first season.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
So you clearly didn't like it enough to return to it, right?
No, I liked it enough to return to it. I don't know why I didn't go back into it.
I feel like that means you didn't like it enough to return to it.
No,
That means
'cause,
other
like,
things
I
went
did
on
like it,
top
like
of it. You didn't
no,
return
because
to it.
I wanted to
It's
return to it, and
unreturned.
it's on my list to return to it
Let him
because
speak.
like I that season 1 cliffhanger that occurred, like it had me in there. I
The
was
season
so
4.
game. I know, like
You
I
were
was so
what?
in there. What?
Oh, I thought I thought you said you were soaking. I'm like, who uses that explanation?
And I just
Soaking.
never went back to it. I was too wet.
Yeah.
Which also I can't believe that you had to put fucking Zaslav on the thumbnail. You know, which it makes sense.
It's him
I
and
just
Dan
laugh.
Lin, just
Oh,
back to
yeah.
back, leading
Big
the new
Dan
era of Warner
Yeah.
Brothers DC. So
I'll never not think Zaslav just looks like a bad guy in his images. He just
100%.
looks like that Justin Hammer type character.
Yeah, can't trust him.
But yeah, no, I think that this is a show that I do want to get back into, and I'm happy that we're getting a season 4. It's just other things that populated got busy. I just couldn't get back into
You're
it.
not a part of that crew.
We.
You watched the first
Yeah.
season.
No,
We're
you're
getting
not
the next
supporting
season,
those
guys.
numbers. Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, I can't ask you much on that as far as you like what you saw. So I imagine you might like some of the Horizon stuff and Bioshock. So I don't know which one it was. I'll pull it up right now, but it's someone that directed some Hunger Games movies. So if that helps you out, but I will get out which specific ones. I think it might have been the first one. So does this excite you at all?
I've never played a Bioshock game in my life, actually, but again, it's on the list with the Umbrella Academy. So
It's great we're
I'm-
getting a sequel, right, Taylor?
Yeah,
Movie,
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I want to get into the games. I want to experience that world. And again, I think that having a show for this, or sorry, not a show, a movie, I think that's fantastic. I think let's get more video game content out there, because chances are I'm not going to play the game before I see the movie, just because it's so hard to commit to such a multi IP. Multi-title
three.
in IP, 3 of them, because there's Bioshock, Bioshock 2, Bioshock Infinite, and wasn't there another one?
Yeah. I don't think
was it?
so.
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
It's
I think-
the type of
I think there's
game-
one in development, but
It's
Okay.
the type of game where it's kind of like a Call of Duty story. I know it's a lot more like intense than what that would be, but because it's a first person shooter, it's not like a role playing element. Like it's a very linear, so you could probably get it done in a few hours now. I know you're a
Okay.
busy guy, but
No, I like that. And chances are I'm gonna watch the movie and just fall in love with this franchise. And like, okay, let's play.
they
the
fall
games.
asleep. It's like, oh no, this isn't going well for Taylor.
I didn't know this. The guy directed. I didn't know he directed all the Hunger Games. He directed, or did he direct them all? He directed Catching Fire, Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2. I can't find the first one, so maybe he didn't do the first one, but still, he directed the last 3. He also directed I Am Legend and Constantine. So the guy has like a
Hey,
good
there you
track
go.
record of some like hits and everything like that. So I will ask you though before I throw over to Kirklin. Maddie from Patreon did send in a question about this. He says, "Which Bioshock game do you want them to adapt, or would you prefer a fresh take? Would you prefer a theatrical release film or a Netflix film series?" Taylor. Obviously, you can't speak on the adaptation, but obviously there's 2 versions, right? Where it's like I feel like there's like a little girl and you're like a main protagonist first person. There's Big Daddy, it's a bit more like horror, and then like Infinite gets into more like action and stuff. What do you think it's gonna go down?
I feel like it's gonna be sticking to its origins and kind of go with that. The initial kind of horror, like mystery, kind of on edge vibe. At least that's how I would like to see it done. It's funny because you mentioned Infinite is more the action take. I feel like that's just kind of the thing with even like Dead Space, where these horror franchises start to take that twist and go into this more action heavy setting, and it's just not good. And I
Resident
think
Evil.
yeah, well, Resident
It did
Evil
that.
is just the
It's gone back now to it's getting more into horror, but it's almost like a different type of horror. But those middle chapters, like 5 to like 7, were all about, or like maybe more like 4 and 7 were which are we on 8 now? What is the one with the cabin and the weird family? Is that 7? Res 7?
that was Bioshock.
okay. So
number
about
7.
4 to 6, I feel like that's when we started getting to really like shoot 'em ups and stuff like
That's
that.
fair. So then my hope is that, okay, these people working on this film, they look at this and think, okay, yeah, we need to stick to our roots here and go back to what made this franchise popular, which was the horror element at its core. That's what the fan base would want. So
What about you, Kirkland? What about one? You hadn't seen Umbrella Academy, so you can't really add much onto that.
No, not at
No,
all.
okay. So
I'm
then
still waiting for
Bioshock
next season though, like Taylor.
Of course, yeah. Season 4, baby. That's when we're gonna finally start watch. But what do you think about this Bioshock becoming a film? And then Maddie's question there.
Yeah, I think this is sweet. I think just the story and the world that BioShock gave like us the players, it's one of those that just sticks with me, and like I think the first game will always be on like my top 10 video game list, because it just, it has that classic action, like what would it be called, an action adventure, I guess, genre.
Yeah.
But like it just has so much more of the world that it gave you. It's very, very just original concept, and I don't want to speak too much because it has like, like I feel like there's a certain thing that happens in the game that if it's just like, holy shit. And again, I'm staying away from spoilers because that game is just so special. If you've yet to try it and it's on your radar, definitely play that game because it's just such a fantastic experience. And just this news alone gets me really jazzed because it's just shining more light on this world that I think too many people just haven't discovered or maybe underappreciate. Maybe not underappreciate because I feel like if you played that first game, you really put it on that pedestal. Like it's just such a fantastic game. So yeah, it's sweet. I feel like if you were to ask me if I want a movie versus a series, I feel like I would probably go series just because we would allow to have more time. Pardon me to just I don't know, not rush things.
Yeah.
But that being said, I could definitely see this being tackled, or let me rephrase that. I can see this being done cleanly as a movie. But I don't know. It might be a little bit rushed in some sections, but it really depends on how they go about it. Like, where do they want to slow down in some sections? Where do they want to speed up? Where do they want to spend more time explaining, like, some of the, I don't know, the intricacies of what made Rapture itself, or are they just entering and Rapture is already a thing, and then weird stuff's already going on? Like it, and I guess that's kind of the route that the game goes. So very, very excited, and I'm definitely going to be, day one watching this.
Wow, day one. Okay.
Do you want that Dua Lipa scene in there?
Oh my god, it's so funny too because there's like a similar situation that happens in the game. Again, I'm not gonna say that she was dancing or anything, but there's just something that happens, and if that happened where it's like the Dua Lipa dance comes in and it just, God, I would probably just be sitting there like straight face, not even like being able to enjoy it because I'm just like, look what they did to my boy, just fucking ruined my awesome game twist. Yeah. And then for Maddie's question, I definitely would say the first game. That would be my ideal, because that one just has so much mystery to it. Like, you get into this very weird situation that there's just a city under the world that underwater, and it has like its own vibe to it. But there's also like the weird thing with like the splicers. There's a weird thing with like the powers. So there is just so many strange things going on. And the third one, it still has that same realm, but I think if they're gonna do like the first Bioshock project, it should be the first one, because that's really like what that means. I don't know, that main world comes from. I think the third one they like tied it in a certain way through like one of the DLCs. I didn't play that one, so I'm not too sure, but yeah, I would definitely love it to be that first game adaptation. And then, did I miss an answer, or did I hit
you answer them all? I'm happy.
Beautiful.
Evelyn's happy. That's all that matters.
Christ.
That's why you're laughing.
I was
over
not
there.
ready.
I don't
was
want
not
to
ready
play
for
it
that.
because I don't want to fight fucking Netflix for a whole month and get this video not demonetized and stuff like that.
Just
We
mute
want
it.
it for people that know it. Might even do because we never got dinged on the audio by Dua Lipa was that, but we fucking won that claim. Yeah, fuck you. You couldn't believe that they tried to get that. It's like, come on now, but
Did a full 180.
You fucking a full 180, but I'm not doing a full 180 on this topic because you know where I am. I've always said I think majority of video game like do better as TV shows. I've not played Bioshock, so I'm not sure if this could be a movie. I think the grand scale of it does lend itself to that, but at the same time, you also have theatrical. I hope it does if it's a big enough scale that you get both, where you get Netflix, but you get like that week before where it's theatrical, and this is one where I think you have to tackle the first game with Big Daddy, everything like that. Like, that's the iconic stuff, and I feel like Infinite might not even be touched for a while, or if ever, if this was a hit. So I don't know. I think there's like, I've always heard about good stories, so I think there's definitely potential there. I just I don't know if it's like a franchise that for Netflix that's in trouble losing subscribers that's going to like get people back. Like a Horizon TV show, for some reason I look at it and go, I feel like they could get people back because it's pretty current. It's very popular. And like I said, it's not a bad thing they're getting in the Sony PlayStation business. They're popular IP. And I guess Bioshock's not even in the Sony business. They have some ties to Sony doing some exclusive stuff. And they're on All-Stars, that roster. But yeah, I think they'll follow the first film, and I'm fine with it getting this, but I think they should do a theatrical. I think you're going to see more theatrical Netflix like releases in the future. But yeah, I was surprised it finally happened here because it's been talked about many studios and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the last piece. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it like speaking upon like the third, because the second game is essentially like the first game, but you play as the Big Daddy.
Yeah.
I know you don't go the same path, but still, just like the first Rapture
180.
setting, it's just it's so claustrophobic, and I feel like the fact that it is just like all kind of indoors because you're underwater, it would probably just make it a little bit easier to film as opposed to like it just all being in a flying city in the sky. Like I think budgetary, like even just doing the backdrops, like if they're not going super expensive on the budget, like those scenes would probably look really bad. Whereas opposed like, oh no, this is just like in a dark, very dripping wet room because it's just there's like it's just a rundown underwater city. I feel like it just makes a lot more sense to do like it for the first go around. And that being said, like I still think there is great potential for a live action like on screen depiction of what the third game was, because that goes into like a cult like setting where there's like a religious like person that's like really taking control. And we've seen many just fantastic, whether it's like a documentary or just TV shows, movies under that same setting. But I think just for the first go around, it would make so much more sense for them to keep it underwater in that claustrophobic setting. And it's just so much creepier for that reason, that you are just so isolated and there's just these weird things that are going on and you're so trapped. Like you're fucked. Like you can't go anywhere. You're underneath the ocean. So yeah, that was my last 2 cents.
There you go. But there'll be a review of it somewhere here, I imagine, when it happens and stuff like that. Fully filmed in the volume. Fuck. You might not be wrong, though. That could be one of those, we're just going to get this panorama room and get in there. But the last news topic is just a quick one more for Taylor and whatnot. But Godzilla vs. Kong, it's started production. It's filming. It has its date. I think it's... What is it? Is it 2000? That's what I was trying to look for here.
2024.
2024. So it's filming right now. And we don't know. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be called Kong vs. Godzilla. But it's them teaming up for something unknown that's been like in the world or something. You probably have like the exact synopsis there, right? There's something.
I don't know the exact synopsis.
I'll find it.
But you basically said it spot on. They're essentially teaming up to fight an ancient thing that is gonna kind of unravel and reveal like the mystery behind more like the Titan history and their connection to humans, stuff like that, all this kind of stuff. And I'm excited to get into this again. To look at all the different franchises out there, you have your big ones like your Star Wars, your Marvel, and your Harry Potter, but just to know that like, man, I got so many of the movies in the MonsterVerse here that were established and set up with this climactic ending that for the most part works and stands off as its own as an ending to this franchise. Like I can accept that and it's great. It just blows my mind that we're going to get another one that expands the universe even more with going back into like involving Skull Island, like the Hollow Earth, and just more Titans. Like it just blows my mind, and I'm so jazzed to have it continuing off of the last one. I have mentioned this before where I really hope that they don't leave it on a big cliffhanger and the movie doesn't do well and then we don't get it, because that would just crush me. I hope they just play it safe and they give us one whole good film in this movie with a start, middle, and end, and they can leave it open, give us like a little like a hint at something with that post-credit scene like they've done with previous Godzilla movies, and then we can go from there and take it away into another sequel film. But for now, just give me a nice wholesome start, middle, finish sequel film to this with the Godzilla, King Kong going to town. And I hope to God that the enemy they're against is more like alien Titans, like King Ghidorah was. I'd love to get.
Ask you though, like the synopsis makes it sound like it's something that's been on Earth this whole time. So I thought aliens might be out of the picture now.
Well, that's what I'm kind of afraid of now too. Again, King Ghidorah was on Earth this whole time as well, but King Ghidorah was an alien Titan, so.
True.
It'll be interesting to see what they dive at. They could really, there are so many little like fun little nods towards the larger universe for the monsters in Godzilla versus Kong. So they have a lot of wiggle room that they could source from. We could get like a Destroyer in there. Like it's just, there's so many options that I'd be all for. So.
Again, I'm happy this exists for you. I don't got much to add. I'll be there because I fucking have Dan Stevens in this. Kirklin, you got anything to add to this?
No, I'll be there.
He'll be there. Oh, look, he's speaking to aliens right now. He's looking around. He just disappears. Big Dan just fucking hits
Just
him.
like flies up into the sky. Yeah.
Yeah. Big Dan with his belt. He's like Pootie Tang. You ever see Pootie Tang? back in the
It's a
day?
very familiar name that I haven't heard in a long time. Can I look it up?
He used the belt. I'm pretty sure his dad used the belt, and he used the belt. That's what Big Dan does, So
Use the belt for what?
he knew. That's I said that Big Dan was talking to you, and you're like, he's like, "Where's
Oh,
your
yeah.
where's your little journal, Taylor?"
oh,
Yeah, and you're
Big
looking
Dan.
around. Yeah. And I also said, "Do you know what Pootie Tang is, Taylor?"
Pootie Tang?
Yeah.
Like pudding?
The movie. No.
Oh.
This is like, how do you spell Snoop Dogg all over
I'll do
again?
a quick share screen. Is it this one there, Travis?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Look at that belt. He's whipping it right there.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
Big Dan Lynn
Oh
does
God!
with his
Oh,
belt. Yeah,
Oh, fucking Wikipedia link, but
yeah, that's all right. What a way to end the
Retro one day.
cast. But one day when we're at
Pootie
movies,
Tang.
Pootie Tang's
directed
gonna
by
happen.
Louis C.K. Oh my gosh! There you
Maybe
go.
we won't be actually.
There you go.
retro. That's not gonna happen anymore. So the Pootie Tang retro was we hardly knew ye. But thank you everyone that tuned into this episode live or on the podcast feed. We appreciate it. It was a fun one, and I promise when you hear from us next, it'll not be boring.
Bye bye.